Welcome back. Today we're gonna switch things up a little bit, but not this kind of switch. A new puzzle type that's called Switcheroo. I found this on Logic Masters Germany, and it's by Genomico. I believe we've done a puzzle by Genomico before, but I can't remember for sure which one. But this is called Switcheroo, and the rules couldn't be simpler. So I'm excited to try this. And Genomico has provided sort of an introductory simple version so we can learn the rules, and then we've got a little bit more difficult version that I'm going to do. So the rules, it seems too simple, but the rules say change 2 digits in each row and column to other digits. You have to use the digits 1 through 9, so that none of the digits appears more than once in a row or column. And actually, I believe the introductory one, let me double check. I think it's digits 1 through 6 in this one, yes. So in the bigger one, it's 1 through 9. In this one, it's 1 through 6. So change 2 digits in each row and column to other digits so that none of the digits appears more than once. So, I mean, that sounds almost too simple. So it'll be interesting to see how there's can be a unique solution. But links in the description like usual. And I'm going to give it a try now. We'll see how this goes. So we're in Penpa again today. And okay, so I suppose one thing we can look at is, like right here we have 2 3s. So obviously one of those 3s is going to have to be changed. Now I suppose both of them could be. Hold on. I got to silence my Roomba. Okay, so I suppose you could change both of those 3s. But you're going to have to change one of them. Okay. But right here, see, we're going to have to change one of the 1s at least, and at least one of the 3s. So that's going to have to be our 2 changes in that column. So maybe, let's see, if you go to surface in the menu, then you can do colored stuff. So I'm going to just say, we'll just say gray means it's not changing. It has to stay. So one of the 1s and one of the 3s has to change. And since this 5 isn't changing, right, okay. I think I'm seeing how the logic works now. So since this 5 is not going to change, it's definitely a 5. This 5 has to change because you can't have 2 5s in the same row. And now, since the 5 is changing and one of the 2's in this column has to change, we know the 4 and the 1 will not change. And again, since that 4 is not changing, this 4 has to change. The 1 doesn't have the same thing down here, though. Okay, so but the 4 is changing. One of the 6's changes, so these are good. Those are set. Now, we know one of the 2's, one of the 3's. So now where do we go? Okay. So, oh no. Yeah, so I'm wondering. Okay, well, we know the 6 or the 2 has to change here. Let's look at if this 2 were to change, what would it change to? It can't be 2, 3, 4. Oh, but we don't know these. So it can't be 2, 3, or 5. So it would have to be 1, 4, or 6. Okay. Oh, what about the 5? Oh, yep. Okay, there we go. That's what we need to look at. Not the 2, the 5. So this 5, what can it change to? It can't be 1, 3, 4, or 5, because those we know are not changing. So it has to be a 2 or a 6. And one of these 2's is going to stay a 2. So it can't be a 2. So this has to change to a 6. There we go. Which then means the 6 has to change. So the 2 does not change. One of the 3's changes. These are staying the same now. So that means that 2 has to change. This does not. So the 3 and the 6 are the only ones left in this row. So that means that doesn't change. All right, maybe we can figure out what some of these digits are going to be. So this one can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6. So it has to change to a 5. This one, 2, 3, 5, 6. So it's got to be a 1 or a 4. This one, 1, 2, 5. It's got a lot of options, doesn't it? This one can't be a 1, 2, 3, or 5. So it's a 4 or a 6. Okay, so oh, that 2 has to change, doesn't it? Yeah, because this 2, oh, this 2 is not changing, so this 2 has to change, which then means that's all of those. So now these 2 have to change. There we go. That's what we needed. Okay, now we just got to fill in the numbers. So this one sees 1, 3, 4, 5, and it is a 2. It has to change. So it can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So it has to be a 6. This one can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6. So it's a 5. This one, 2, 3, 5, 6 with a 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it has to be a 1. This one, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So it's a 3. This sees 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So it has to be a 4, which makes that one a 6. This sees 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it has to be a 1, which means that's a 4. And there we go. I think that's the solution to the introductory version. Okay, so here is the bigger version, the full strength version, if you will. It looks like we've got an 8x8 grid, and we're using the digits 1 through 9 this time. So same rules, though. We're just switching 2 digits in each row and column, and none of the digits can appear more than once. So, all right, so I'm going to start the timer, and of course, link in description if you want to try this puzzle as well. I'm going to give it a try now. Okay, so I'm going to look first, based on that last puzzle, for rows and columns where there's 2 sets of duplicate digits. And right here. So let's go back to our surface. There we go. So we've got 1s and 5s. So one of the 1s and one of the 5s is going to have to be duplicated. And so now that I've blacked these out, or I guess grayed them out, meaning they stay what they are, they're not going to get switched, I need to look at the other direction to see if, so if there's a 3 in here, then it would have to change. If there's a 4, 2, no, of course not. Because it's not going to be as easy as the other one. Okay. 3s, no, 6s, 6s and 2s. Now, let's see, is there a 5 or a 1 or an 8 or a 4? Nope. Okay, so that's it for the rows. Let's see if I can find any. I've got 2s here. 7s. I'm looking for ones that have 2 duplicates. And I'm not finding too many. We've got 1s here. 1s and 4s. 1s and 4s. 5, 9. The 3 here means that 3 is going to have to be duplicated. Right, and so we've got the 3 and the 7 in this column now. Now we don't know which 7, but one of the 7s is going to have to be switched. Sixes, yeah, 2s, 8. Oh, now that's interesting. Okay, let's look. Let me grab some colors. Okay, so the 2s and the 8s, and then the 3s and the 5s. Now, they're different directions, right? So the 8s and the 2s, one of them has to be switched because of the column. And the 3s and the 5s, one of them has to be switched because of the row. But this is almost like a star battle technique here. That's weird. Okay. So you can almost think of it like star battle, right? So we're gonna have, if you think of our switched digits, our green digits, as stars, we're gonna have a star here and a star here. We've got our dominoes, like star battle. But the point is, in this block right here, there's 4 stars, right? One in the yellow, one in the orange, one in the whatever color I used there, pink, I think, and red. Whatever colors these are, there's 4 in there, which means the important thing is that's all of our stars or switched digits in these 2 columns. So the rest of these are not switched. And since that 6 is not switched, well, and actually in this row we only have 2 possible digits left that can be switched. So those are switched. Oh, that's interesting. It's kind of a star battle technique being used in a number puzzle that has no stars or regions or anything. Now, where do we go from here is the question. Trying to see if I missed any in any of these where I've graded out and there's a duplicate the other direction. Not seeing any. Okay, so we're probably going to have to look at what numbers we can change these things to now. So maybe the 3 here. So it sees 1, 2. It can't be 3, 4. Could be 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so it's going to have to be a 5. That's the only thing it can switch to, which then means this 5 has to switch because it can't stay a 5 anymore. And that gives us all of them for our row. And this 2 means that 2 has to change. Okay. Let's look at the 2. Why not? Let's see. So it could be 1. It can't be 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. So it could be 1 or 6, I think. If it's a 6, then both of those would have to change. But that might be okay. All right, what about this 5? 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's got to be 1 or 4. This one, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8. 3, 7, or 9. That's not as good. Let's see. Let's do smaller digits. It's not as good. Now, if it's 3 or 9, then we know one of these has to change. So, maybe that would be helpful. Let's see. This one. And the problem is we can't look at the white digits. We can only compare it to gray digits because the white ones could still change. So like the 3 and the 9 up here, one of those could still change. So this could still be a 3 or a 9. It just can't be 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8 because those are gray, which means they're not changing. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8. Right. So this one sees the same ones, obviously, in the row. So 3, 7, and 9. It can't be a 9, so this has to be a 3 or a 7. Now, if it's a 7, it's going to affect that one. Okay. Let's see. What else can we do? If this is a 6, both of those change. Yeah. Seeing how. Okay. Oh, we have 2 greens right here. 2 greens, which means the rest of that column has to be gray. And now that makes that 1 green. And it also means this has to be a 4, because it can't be the 1 anymore. Okay. So one of these has to be green, the 3 or the 6. Let's look at what that 1 could be now. Oh, and we also know, because there's 2 1s and 2 4s, only one of the 1s is going to change. So that one's not going to be changing. Okay. So this can't be 1, 2, 3, 4. One of these is still going to be a 5, so it can't be, well, and there's a 5 up here. So it can't be 5. Could be 6 or 7. It can't be 8 or 9. So this has to change to 6 or 7. Now, these 5s, interestingly, they see 1, 2, 3, 4. They're, whichever one changes is gonna see a 5. And they both see a 6, 7 down here and an 8 there. So whichever one of these changes, it's gonna have to change to a 9. But we don't know which one that is yet. Okay. What about maybe the 7s? Can we look at these? One of these two 7s has to change. What would this one switch to? 1, 2. Could be a 3 or a 6. That would have to be a 3 or a 6, which would affect that 6. Oh, no, no, no. Forget the 7s. Column over here. We're changing one here. We've got to change one of those 6s. These are not changing. Okay, that gives us a little bit more. Okay, let's go back to, so we knew this 7 had to be a 3 or a 6. What about this 7? 2, 3, 3 or 6. Again, 3 or 6, which would affect that 6. So one of these two 6s has to change. Because, well, no, because one of these could be a 3. Yeah, never mind. Okay, 7s didn't help. Let's look at these 6s. So, oh, the 7's not changing. Right, so this is now a 3. This is now a 3 because that 7's no longer changing. Which means this is 7... Oh, 7 or 9. There we go. Oh, and it can't be a 9 because of that 9 is not changing anymore. So that one's a 7. So we got our 7 and our 3 there. Now this 3 means... So one of these 6s has to change. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it has to be a 2 or a 4. This one would have to be a 2, and this one would have to be a 4. So it's either a 2 or a 4. This one sees 1, 2. It can't be a 3 if we're changing it. 3, 4, 5. So this would have to change to a 6. Right. So if this one changed, it couldn't be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, or 9. It would have to change to a 6. But if that changes to a 6, and we've already got 2 greens, this one would also have to switch. So this can't be the one that switches. So that one stays the same. This one changes, which means this one stays the same. Okay, so this one can't be 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it has to switch to a 2. Okay, now one of these 4s has to change. So this one, oh, this 4 up here sees a 1, 2. It's gonna see one of these is gonna be a 3. If it's changing, it can't. Well, if either it changes or it stays a, yeah. So there can't be a 4 if it's changing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could be a 6, 7, 8, 9. It would have to be a 6 if it changed. It would have to be a 6, which looks possible. If this one changed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it would have to be a 7. Okay. So this would have to be a 6. This would have to be a 7. Okay. No, not going to get anything there. So where do we look now? And we don't necessarily know that one of these changes because we know there's a 2 that changes and an 8 that changes, but they could be in the same row. Nothing that says they have to be in different rows. What about these 3s? 1, 2, 3. They both see a 4. Both see a 6, 7. So they could be 5, 8, or 9. Right here it's going to see an 8 for sure. So this one would have to be 5 or 9. Ah, and if this one changed, right, so if this one changes, the 3 and the 5 can't be in the same column. The ones that switch. They have to be in opposite columns because they're going to have a 2 or an 8 that's switching above them. So this one here would definitely see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It would have to switch to a 9. This would have to become a 9. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one could be 8 or 9. Right. Okay, so if this one switches, I think this works. So if this one is the 3 that switches, it's got to be an 8 or a 9, which would force one of these to be the other switch in the row. If this one switches, it has to be a 9, which would force that to be the other one that switches. Either way, the 4 can't be the other one that switches in the row, which then forces that one to change. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. So this has to be a 7, which means this one has to be a 6. Okay. Now, what did we said? If whichever one of these switches, it has to be a 9. I believe, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They both see 7, 8. Yeah. Whichever one of these switches, it's going to have to be a 9. But what does that matter? It doesn't really. Because we decided the 3 and the 5 had to be diagonal from each other, so it's not going to limit the 3 turning into a 9 as well. Okay, so we know one of these has to switch. What can the 8 switch to? Or the 9? What? Either one, I guess. Let's look at I'm gonna look at this one first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Could be a 5. Could be a 6. It would have to be a 5 or a 6. So if this one switches, it would force the 5 or the 6 to switch. This 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could be a 6 or a 9. What about this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If this one switches, it would have to switch to an 8. Which would force these two to be in the same row, the switch. And this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, yeah, this one right here. Okay, so it sees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9, and it is an 8, so there's nothing it can switch to. So that means this one is the switch. And this one can no longer, this 2 up here would have to become an 8 because it sees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. So it would have to become an 8 and it can't. So this is not changing. So those 2 are both changing, which then means the 7 changes. These both change. Now we've got both of them in the column there. So this one's changing. There we go. There we go. That's what we needed. Okay. Now we just got to do the numbers. This one can't be a 6 anymore because that 6 remains. So the 1, this 7 has to change. Let's see. It sees 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's got to be a 3. This one sees 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8. So it's got to be 4. This one sees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. It's got to be a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. It's got to be a 6. There we go. This one sees 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. That could be 3 or 8, couldn't it? This one sees 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So this has to be a 3. 3, which means that one's an 8. And that also means that 3 also means this 3 has to change. There we go. There's our changing digits. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's got to become a 9. And I think this one's a 9 too. I think we decided that had to be 7, 8. Yep. So there you go. I believe that is the solution to Switcheroo by Genomico. That was definitely more challenging than the introductory one, as I would expect it to be. And that was fun. There was some weird logic that came about, like the star battle logic that we used, and it's almost Sudoku-ish with the not repeating digits, but you're not using every digit, and it's just kind of weird at first because you can't use the digits that are in the row and column to rule out options until you know which ones are switching. So interesting, very very cool. I enjoy the rule set. It's just very simple. There's not a bunch of complicated things, and if this happens, then that, and if A, then B, and it's just simple. Change 2 digits, don't repeat, and that's it. So it's pretty easy to understand the rules, even though the logic is a little more complicated. So let me know what you thought. If you tried that, if you liked it, if you thought it was hard, easy. If you did it a lot faster than me, couldn't finish it in hours, just let me know how it went for you. I'm always curious to know if other people enjoy things or if they struggle with things. And I'll see you guys again soon with another puzzle. Thanks. Bye.